And now, the latest from Iraqi news.
Turka Allah, Muhammad Jihad.
Loosely translates to,
just to tell you guys, we are international.
Welcome to Pimpy's Investment Chat, where we keep investment talk simple. And here's your host, Pimpy.
What is going on out there, peeps? Man, Iraq is international. You heard it, Durka. It's been translated to Iraq is now international. Oh man, I got all kinds of people excited in my group talking about, man, did you hear? Did you hear? I was like, hear what? Oh, Iraq is international. Oh, okay. What? Iraq is international. Nader said Iraq was international. I heard another YouTuber saying he had heard that Nader had told the world that Iraq was going international. And I was like, international what? House of Pancakes? What are they doing? You can't just say they're going international. What does that mean? That doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. Just giving Nader a hard time, but that's the truth. People are like, man, did you hear it? They're going international. International what? What do you mean they're going international? Nobody can answer. They sent me that video of Nader, and I was like, what does that mean they're going international? I don't know what that means they're going international. The other YouTuber didn't say what it meant. It just said, hey, everybody, how exciting. We're going international. International what? Again, what? House of Pancakes? What are you guys doing? What is going international? Man, it was driving me crazy, and nobody can answer. So if anybody knows what the answer is to we're going international, please let me know. All right, all kinds of good things happening in Iraq, including, finally, an agreement between Kurdistan and the federal government of Iraq. Finally, they're going to squash this whole carbon gas law. That's a biggie for Iraq. Not to mention, are they passing the budget finally? Let's get into this. Before we get started, do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button. If you're not a subscriber, please do so, because when you do, it helps out the channel, and I certainly do appreciate it. If you're thinking about buying gold and silver, check out our friends at Money Metals Exchange. The link is down below in the description. If you are a first-time buyer and you spend more than $200, you will get an additional ½ ounce of silver with your order. Just follow the link down below in the description. No promo codes are needed. You can find me on other social media platforms like Facebook. I do have my own group called Pimpy's Investment Chat. Over here we do talk about gold, silver, cryptocurrency, as well as foreign currency investments and any other investments you wish to talk about. Come on over here. It's free to join. Just follow the link down below in the description. I can be found on Twitter, MeWe, YouTube, Odyssey, and now Rumble. Yes, that's right. I finally got a Rumble. And in addition to that, you can find me over here at Pimpy's News Network. If I should ever get kicked off of YouTube, you can find me on any other one of these platforms. So come join me. It's free to do so. The links for all these locations are down below in the description. So come on over and join me. Maybe it isn't International House of Pancakes. Maybe it's
International Lover. Yeah, that's right.
Yes, maybe International Lover. I'm not sure. Anyways, economic. Iraq imports 60 tons of gold annually worth $3 billion. And when you buy gold from over in the Middle East, their gold is not like our gold here in the United States. Theirs is a lot purer than we have here. Very, very beautiful bracelets, necklaces. You know, I have friends that are Indian, some that are Hindu. Their jewelry is really beautiful. That nice, beautiful yellow color. It's very nice to own. So Iraq is importing 60 tons of gold. So it looks like not only were they working on a 2023 budget, but they are working on a 2023, 24, and 25. The budget is set for the next 3 years. If anything pops up, they can do an amendment. So talking about getting something that becomes a headache every year for some reason, it's really hard for them to pass a budget. So Al-Sadini did the smart thing. He said, we will pass a 3-year budget. Yes. So what does that mean about the Iraqi Dinar rate? If they're not going to change the budget, then that means they're not going to change the rate. Now, I'm not saying that it can't be changed. Like he said, they can make amendments. If something pops up and it looks like an opportunity for them to change the rate, they'll change it. But this looks like everything is set for the next 3 years. Remember, they told us they wouldn't change the Iraqi Dinar rate for at least 5 years. That ended in 2025. So is that a coincidence? I don't know. We'll find out. So the Iraqi Council of Ministers approved on Monday the draft budget law for the years 2023, 24, and 25. The Prime Minister's Information Office said in a statement received by the news that the Council of Ministers approved the draft federal budget law for the fiscal year 23, 24, and 25. This is how I knew they must have come up with some kind of agreement with Kurdistan, because doing a 3-year budget would have been dang near impossible without having something settled with Kurdistan. So today, the Iraq government, headed by al-Sadini, held a session that included discussing the draft federal budget law. Sami announced that the completion of the draft federal budget law for the year 2023 and sent it to the councils of ministers for discussion and voting on it. Here we go. After years of disagreement, al-Sadini announces an agreement to solve problems with the Kurdistan region. So Prime Minister al-Sadini announced on Monday that an agreement had been reached to end the dispute between Baghdad and Erbil over the oil revenues of the Kurdistan region. They announced it, but I'd like to see that sucker get signed so we know it's finalized. An agreement was reached to solve the problems between the center and the region on oil and gas by putting revenues from the region's oil into one of the banks, al-Sadini said during the press conference held today after the cabinet sessions attended by the news. For the first time, we have reached an agreement that the oil revenues of the region will be deposited into one account, and that the Prime Minister of the region and the Federal Prime Minister are authorized to monitor the account, and there will be a committee that submits its recommendations to the Federal Prime Minister to make the appropriate decisions. The file of the oil exports and revenues in the Kurdistan region is one of the most prominent points of contention between Baghdad and Erbil, and was usually used as a card for political escalation when relations between the center and the region were strained. The dispute over the files escalated in the Federal Supreme Court, the highest court in Iraq, on February 12, 2022, ruled unconstitutional in the oil and gas law and the Kurdistan regional government. The federal court obliged the Kurdistan regional government to hand over oil imports to Baghdad, sparking angry reactions from the region during a period that was mainly serious political tension, as the ruling was issued in conjunction with the peak political blockage that followed the early elections in 2021. So a lot of YouTubers out there, including myself, said that one of the major stepping stones for Iraq is to get this agreement between Kurdistan and the federal Iraqi government. And that looks like it's about to be done. So this would be the hydrocarbon law, the gas law is what we're talking about. It looks like it's going to be signed, but until it's signed, just keep your fingers crossed. So Alawi is shocked by the decision to arrest him and seize his money. I will devote the rest of my life to uncovering my perpetrators of the steal of the century. So we know this. A lot of cabinet members that were with Al-Qademi have been arrested and all of their assets seized. They are being accused of the theft of the century. That's why you've seen Al-Qademi plead to the news and the people out there, stating that this corruption was discovered by them. They had reported it, and now they're saying they are being accused by those who actually did the crime. So this should be no surprise at all. So Alawi is part of that cabinet. This is who they're going to throw all under the bus. And I really do think they're the innocent people that's going to get accused. Now, how far this goes, who knows? But they have lost all their assets so far. So as part of that agreement between Kurdistan and Iraq federal government, you can see right here, it says the Prime Minister al-Sadini has reached an agreement ending the dispute between Baghdad and Erbil over the revenues of the Kurdistan regional oil. The day after the province Minister of Finance received 400 billion dinar from Baghdad to finance the salaries of the employees there. The Iraq government also announced that it approved the federal budget for 3 consecutive years and referred it to parliamentary for discussion, which is the first time that the federal budget has been approved for Iraq for 3 consecutive years. So it looks like they come up with a set amount. Hopefully, whatever the agreement is, it's final, so we don't have to keep revisiting it every couple of years. Al-Rafidian announces the opening of 6 new branches to deposit dinars in Baghdad. As you can see, they're trying to make access to banking very easily for its citizens over there in Iraq. The Sudanese government approves the largest budget in the history of Iraq. All right, so let's go over a little bit of this. The proposed deficit to the new federal budget is estimated at 48 billion, up about 28 billion from the deficit recorded in 2021 budget. Aswani faces the great social and security challenges. The draft budget allocates $307 million to Kurdistan region. Iraq government submitted 3-year budget to parliament. Iraqi cabinet on Monday approved the draft financial budget law and submitted it to parliament for a vote, with higher proposed expenditures and investments driven by the increase in oil prices. The last budget approved in Iraq goes back to April 2021. Remember, they were doing a piecemeal back then instead of doing a whole year's worth. While no one was adopted in 2022 due to the political unrest that paralyzed the country for a year after the last legislative election, while the new Iraqi draft budget law includes the largest budget in the history of Iraq state in 20 years. During the government meeting Monday, the cabinet approved the draft federal budgets for the fiscal years 23, 24, and 25. So the cabinet approved this, and now they're just waiting for the representatives to go through this. Let's see if they will approve a 3-year budget. He referred it over to the House of Representatives according to the statement issued by the Office of the Prime Minister, al-Sudani. Al-Sudani said that the budget will be repeated for 3 years, adding that these figures may be amended and approved by the House of Representatives in the event of a change in numbers, oil price, or quantities. So you see, although the numbers are fixed, and that includes the exchange rate in the budget, they can make an amendment and change it. The proposed expenditures in the new budget amount to 107 trillion and 828 billion dinars. 152 billion according to the official exchange rate, including investments worth 47 trillion and 550 billion dinars, or 365.5 US dollars. The Iraq Prime Minister has repeatedly stressed the infrastructure projects such as roads, schools, hospitals, and housing projects are a priority in this country that has been exhausted by decades of war, and a third of its 42 million people live in poverty. Look, if they can get infrastructure going, this is going to be a huge boost to the economy. This gets a lot of people working. Al-Sudani expressed during the press conference on Monday, he hopes that his projects included in the budget would allow addressing poverty situations, talking about the payment of subsidies to about 600,000 families and the establishment of a special fund to support the poorest provinces. He also pledged to rebuild some areas, especially Sanjar and the stronghold of the Yazidis minority. The total revenue of the proposed budget for 1 year is 134 trillion and 500 billion, or 103.4 billion, based on the oil price of $70 per barrel. 70, I think, is really high, man, but hopefully it works for them. You know, being around 60 is better, but 70, okay. So that means if oil drops below that for any length of time, that really screws Iraq up. So it looks like finally we got an agreement between Kurdistan and Baghdad on the hydrocarbon law. We'll get that signed and taken care of. And it looks like not only they got 1 year's worth of budget, but it looks like 3 possible years worth of budget. Dang, talk about taking care of some major stepping stones there. So really good for Iraq. As far as what is international, I have no clue. You guys keep asking me that, and I couldn't even answer your question because I don't know what anybody was talking about. Anyways, that's it for now. You guys let me know what you think down below. I will get back at you later. I'm out.